All right. I think we can go to Town Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Order this time.
Isn't that something? I'm happy to share that the first edition of The Bridge is now out. The Bridge is a new monthly community newsletter that the Tyngsborough Public Library is putting together. They heard loud and clear that the closure of the Neighbor to Neighbor was having a big impact on the community, and they stepped up to fill the gap. The Bridge is currently a digital publication with hard copies available next door in the library, but their goal is to eventually replicate the Neighbor to Neighbor model where the monthly newsletter is mailed out. But as we get started, we're starting with the digital version. It's out now. You can find the latest edition and subscribe at tinglib.org. You can also obtain the hard copy in the library here at 25 Bryant Lane. As we dive deeper into the summer, just a reminder that the town beach on Lake Muscuppick is open for business. The beach is open to Tyngsborough residents only, and residents must first obtain a beach pass. You can get a beach pass in the office of the town manager or the recreation department. It is one beach pass per household. They never expire, and there's a replacement fee if you lose the one that we've issued you. Just a reminder to folks that you should clean up after yourselves. We had a very busy couple of weekends, but fortunately people have been taking care of the beach. Alcohol is strictly prohibited, and all children must be accompanied by an adult at all times. There is no beach parking along the residential streets surrounding the beach, and certainly no trailer parking. We've already seen, thanks to the Tyngsborough Police, some enforcement of that. As the Drake side starts to get a little busier, people are moving trailers into Tyngsborough, which causes congestion, and it makes it not possible for our emergency apparatus to get down there. So if you park a trailer on the street, expect to get a ticket, and you can come pay that here at Town Hall. As of July 1st, we formally transitioned the management of public cemeteries in Tyngsborough to the Department of Public Works. This was the final piece of the DPW Act to be implemented. We're incredibly grateful to former Cemetery Commissioner Doug LaTulip, who continued to manage the interments and coordinate maintenance over the last year. Doug spent the last year transitioning as much of his knowledge as he could to our DPW, and we're grateful to his support. As a part of that transition, we've published new information about buying graves and coordinating interments. That information is available at tyngsboroughma.gov under the Cemetery Department. Last week, we sent letters to area funeral homes sharing that same update, so we're hoping the transition is going to be as smooth as possible. We've moved the sale of graves to our online platform, so we're coming along into the 21st century. This allows residents to see which graves are currently available. You can pay the fees online, fill out all of your information online, and then the hard copy of the deed will still be produced here in our town clerk's office, so you can get one with a raised seal, but you'll always be able to obtain a copy on the town's website where you create your account. So it's the same software that you would, or the same program you'd use to apply for a building permit, to rent the old town hall, really trying to streamline things and make it as easy as possible. So a big thanks to our DPW Superintendent, Jake Zwicker, and our Town Clerk, Jessica Brunel, for their work to make that happen. Greater Lowell Tech was awarded a $700,000 grant from the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development through the Career Technical Initiative Grant. These funds will allow them to provide training and placement services to 86 unemployed or underemployed individuals in our community, with a focus on electrical, welding, plumbing, carpentry, auto tech, and culinary. To achieve this, they'll work with partner companies, including some from right here in Tyngsborough, like New England Transit Sales and A. Fagundes Plumbing and Heating. We are currently enrolling participants in our second annual Civic Leadership Academy. Applications went live on June 23rd and are due by July 31st. This year's program will run from August 13th through October 15th. We have 8 applicants already, and we posted another reminder earlier this week. So if you're interested, you want to learn more or apply, just visit tyngsboroughma.gov. There's a scrolling page on the home page that will help you. Last week, the House and Senate approved the budget and conference committee for fiscal year 2026. Governor Healy signed the budget on Friday, but vetoed $130 million in various spending items. The full extent of her vetoes haven't been published yet, and it's very likely they'll go back to the legislature and potentially be overridden. So I don't know where that will land or what impact that might have on Tyngsborough. We went with the governor's original proposal, so it will always end up being a better case scenario for us. The conference committee version of the budget sees Tyngsborough's net state aid increasing by $211,021. That is a result largely of a decrease in our assessment. So when we get our state aid, it comes on what they call the cherry sheet. The front side is the aid that they're giving us through various programs like Chapter 70, unrestricted government aid. The back side is the charges that they're taking from us. So the net of the front and the back is your actual state aid. While they reduced our state aid, they also reduced the assessments that we were paying. Of note as well, Governor Healy on Friday announced that her administration was holding off on releasing more than $125 million in earmarks for municipalities until at least October. Again, they haven't released much information except to say that that's part of the governor's attempt to ensure that state revenues land where they're projected. What is unclear right now, because nothing's been published, is if that includes earmarks from the last budget. As you may remember, we have $600,000 in a bond bill, or if that's new earmarks that were funded as a part of the fiscal 26 budget. So I expect at some point this week we'll get some sort of correspondence from the state, and I'll pass that along as a part of my Friday update. But the budget process is a lot earlier this year than it normally is. It's very rare that the legislature passes their version of a budget before July 1st. On a staffing front, I'm happy to welcome Gregory Janes to the Department of Public Works as our new skilled laborer and mechanic. Mr. Janes comes to us from the Massachusetts Water Resource Authority, where he served as a laborer and valve technician since 2016. Prior to that, he worked as a laborer, mechanic, and heavy equipment operator for various construction companies going back to 2002. He comes highly recommended from his supervisors and will make a great addition to our highway division. Mr. Janes will fill the vacancy created by the promotion of Ray Reiki to the role of foreman this spring, and he will start on July 21st. The town is currently looking to hire a part-time cemetery coordinator. This position will coordinate the interments at town-owned cemeteries. This is per diem, part-time, up to 20 hours a week, and there's more information available at tyngsborough.gov if you know someone that might be interested. On a project front, S&R Construction was awarded a contract for the abatement and demo of 180 Lakeview Ave. They've already been on site and begun the abatement work. We're working closely with them to ensure that they keep as much parking available as possible for the softball field. And when it comes time to taking the building down, which will have a bigger impact on the parcel, we'll coordinate that work with the rec department so that there's a minimal, if any, impact on the rec fields. A couple weeks ago, I met with school facilities staff, DPW staff, and the contractor who installed the new irrigation system at Bicentennial Field to conduct training on the new system. I'm very happy to report that the system is fully operational and all of the key staff who will operate the system received training, and we're very pleased with the results. For those that aren't familiar, this project saw the installation of a new pump station inside Bridge Meadow Brook, which allows us to use naturally occurring brook water to water Bicentennial Field, thus reducing our reliance on municipal water. One of the interesting things is that by switching to the brook water, the pressure on the sprinkler system is actually much greater. It was going a lot higher than they were used to, so it should also reduce the amount of energy we have to use to run the pumps because it's pumping faster. The MassWorks grant project on Kendall Road is moving ahead, but is slightly delayed due to delays getting the telephone poles relocated by National Grid. To date, Commerce Drive has been constructed. Access to the DPW is now through Commerce Drive, as is access to the Park and Ride. Additionally, the developer has begun construction on the warehouse project that will serve as the anchor of the site. In the coming weeks, once the utility poles are relocated, the sidewalks will be installed. As a reminder, the work that folks are seeing is funded by a $2 million MassWorks grant, and as a result unlocked a large parcel behind the Park and Ride that will house 2 large warehouses. Another positive to them moving as quickly as they are is that the special permit issued by the planning board required a mitigation payment of $120,000 toward a new DPW building. They have applied for the permit. It hasn't been issued just yet, but I expect it will be in the next couple of weeks, and so that money will go toward the work that we hope to do on the DPW building. We're currently seeking sealed bids for the 2025 Roads Improvement Project Phase 1. The work under this contract is the preservation work. This is the rubber chip seal that we've talked about in previous meetings. That work will occur on Bryant Lane, Norris Road, Coburn Road, Parham Road, Old Ting Road, Westford Road, and Swan Road. Bids have been available since July 2nd and are due on July 16th. Just a couple upcoming events. There's too many for me to mention, but I would just encourage folks to visit the Tyngsborough Public Library's website to see all of the events that they're hosting over the summer. You can do that by visiting www.tinglib.org/event-calendar. The Recreation Committee Summer Concert Series continues at Ironwood Park this month with Rock City Band on July 10th, the fundraisers on August 7th, and Ben Duran on September 11th. Summer concerts take place under the pavilion at Ironwood and start at 6:30 p.m. The annual Party by the Bridge, hosted by the Recreation Committee, will take place on Saturday, August 23rd, 2025, in the town center. The program will begin at 11 a.m. and will end with fireworks at dark over the river. As always, we're still looking for volunteers, so if you're able to help, visit www.tyngsborough.ma.gov for more information or contact the Recreation Department at 978-649-2300, extension 150. Sean?
Mr. Chair,
Starting this Wednesday, July 7th, we'll be seeking sealed bids in coordination with the Northeast Public Health Alliance, or NEFA, to provide food inspection coverage in Tyngsborough, Tewksbury, Chelmsford, and possibly Billerica. Since February, the town's been utilizing Mogen Solutions to handle this work. Tyngsborough is the fiscal lead for NEFA, who recently hired a staff member to assist with this work. Bids are due Wednesday, July 23rd, and we expect to have a contract in place for August 1st. And just in addition to that, Mogen Solutions agreed to a 1-month extension based on the contract that we had that ended at the end of fiscal year 25. So we're expecting to have something in place by next month.
That's great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Let's start with Select Person Coughlin. Any questions?
No, none at this time.
Select Person Cohen.
The only thing I'll add, we talk about the DPW, and there's a new entrance to there. If you're coming from the town center, from the Tyngsborough Bridge, as you pass where you'd normally go into the DPW, there's a new road right there, Commerce Drive, and that's where you drive into, and it's just a very quick right after that is the DPW. So just wanted to mention that so everybody knows exactly where that is. That's all.
Thank you. Select Person Gilfus.
So do you no longer enter
Correct.
where you used, is it blocked?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, I guess I haven't noticed. 2 questions for Mr. Loiselle. One, in the update about Lowell Tech, Greater Lowell Tech's grant, you mentioned that it will fund placement of 86 unemployed or underemployed individuals in our community. Do you know what constitutes in our community?
The district that Greater Lowell Tech serves, so Lowell, Tyngsborough, Dunstable, Dracut. I think that's it.
That's awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then for the DPW project, there's a lot that's going on there. Do you happen to know the total cost of the work on the road, the DPW building, like everything that's over there?
So the only work that is in contract is the Commerce Drive work, which totals more than $2 million. The town is contributing $0 to that phase of the work, where we got the $2 million grant from the state. Everything above that $2 million is being funded by the developer, and they have other contracts for private utility work, and then the work that's happening for the construction of their warehouses on that back parcel. We currently have on the building side, there's $450,000 from ARPA. Some of that has been reallocated, I would say temporarily, to support the demo of 180 Lakeview Ave. There's the $120,000 that will come from the mitigation payment. And then the sewer commission has, we have an intermunicipal agreement with them that they'll contribute a third of whatever the final cost is. It's still not sufficient to build a new building, so that project is on hold until we find out what's happening with the earmark. So it's a long way to say that the only project that's really happening right now is that warehouse development and the road that was built, and all of that is funded either by the $2 million MassWorks grant or by the developer, anything above $2 million.
Okay, add one more thing to that. The developers also, they're running water and sewer
Correct.
to both buildings.
Correct.
As part of our agreement. So,
Yes.
So that's the other aspect that's part of this.
Yeah, because if I'm remembering correctly, the 600,000 earmark is for the DPW building.
Correct.
Right?
That's correct.
And so if that doesn't happen, what happens to the building?
Then we have to revisit what we're doing. We already pivoted. When I took over in September of 23, the plan was to go out to bid for a brand new building with a bunch of garage bays.
Yeah.
Quickly it became apparent that we didn't have a sufficient appropriation. We had, separate from the money I've already talked about, a $100,000 earmark for improvements on the DPW yard, which we pivoted quickly and used to rehab the bathroom space, the locker room space, and the office space to make it, in my opinion, livable, and I'd encourage folks to stop by and see what a difference it is. We haven't spent any of the money to build a new building because we don't have a sufficient appropriation. What we'll be forced to do if the earmark doesn't come through is figure out our priority right now. The main need over there is getting equipment out from the elements and inside, and that can be accomplished through cheaper options than what we were originally looking for. The original plan was to build the garage bays that would house DPW, that's Highway Division and sewer, and then leave a portion of that building where we could build out offices in the future. We don't have the money to even build the shell right now, so we've decided instead to revitalize the office space that we currently have. If we don't get the earmark and it's not feasible for us to ask capital for the appropriation to build a new building, we will likely pivot, and no decision has been made yet, but we'll likely pivot to just look at building just garage space. You know, it wouldn't be entirely ideal, but it would allow us to get some of those trucks out from the elements and at least sheltered.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just need to like sort of write that out. But that's what I was trying to get to is like, I know that there was the 100,000 in improvements, and does that replace the building or, you know, in place of it? But okay, thank you. This is helpful.
Of course.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Select Person Eldridge.
Yeah, as always, a lot of great things happening. I wonder if the details in these updates doesn't cut into our ratings for the meeting, where we used to, you know, this is where all the information comes out. Now it comes out in that 5 minutes. And
Oh, so everyone's going to tune out. I
yeah,
understand.
I'm worried.
Really?
But no, thank you for the fantastic information. A lot of good stuff in there. I do encourage everybody to go through it. I did want to add one thing around the bicentennial field irrigation, which I'm ecstatic for. It was one of the things when I started 4 years ago I wanted to get done, and it's only been 4 years, so thank you. But the other advantage, in addition to the water pressure, but because we're not using potable water that's been treated, brook water is, we could theoretically have better grass with less fertilizer and, you know, chemicals that are being put on the fields because, you know, you have natural fertilizer that's in there a little bit better. So I'd love to see what that does through. It's going to be a little bit tough when it's really hot to grow a lot, but I think this is fantastic. It's going to save us money. It's going to be better for those fields. And you know, there are plenty of prevention of us taking all the water out of there and making it so that it dries out. So I think it's a fantastic project. Thank you for the update on that. I am really excited about seeing what that's going to do for us.
Thank you.
Nothing further.
My only comment, Colin, is I'm glad you brought up the block party because people don't realize perhaps how many volunteers it takes to have a successful block party. There are lots and lots of volunteer positions available. I encourage anyone and everyone that has even a few hours of time to get in touch with the rec department and sign up for a volunteer opportunity. It's great. So thank you.